What really happened to Marilyn Monroe on the night of August 4, 1962? Was it suicide, or was Hollywood's brightest star silenced forever? Why are people still convinced she was murdered? These questions have haunted fans and historians for over 60 years. Brentwood, Los Angeles. Late evening, August 4th. At the house on Foothill Drive number 12305, the final seconds of Marilyn Monroe's life are ticking away. She was an actress, a singer, a celebrity, and perhaps the greatest sex symbol the world has ever known. The official investigation, closed 3 weeks later, ruled her death a suicide. Yet doubts remain to this day. Many believe her extraordinary life, a roller coaster of fame, heartbreak, and scandal, was violently cut short when she crossed the paths of the powerful. But before that tragic night, there was Norma Jean Mortensen. Born on June 1, 1926, in Los Angeles into desperate circumstances. She never knew her father. Her mother struggled with poverty and mental illness, leaving young Norma in foster homes, orphanages, and with relatives. At 16, she married a neighbor, Jim Doherty, just to avoid being sent back to the orphanage. The year was 1942. World War II raged on. Jim went to war while Norma worked in a factory producing military equipment. It was there that photographer David Conover noticed the pretty brunette at her workstation. He photographed her, and soon she was introduced to others in the business. Modeling jobs followed. By the time she was still a teenager, Norma was already appearing on magazine covers. But she wanted more. She wanted Hollywood. When Jim returned from the war, they divorced. Norma changed her name to Marilyn Monroe. She auditioned at film studios, slowly earning small roles. The breakthrough came in 1950 with The Asphalt Jungle and a contract with 20th Century Fox. Suddenly, she was moving from set to set, gaining fame. But destiny had already prepared a scandal. Back in 1949, she had posed nude for a calendar. By 1952, the photos resurfaced, angering the studios and conservative America. Yet, instead of destroying her career, they made her a global sensation. By 1953, those very photos graced the cover of the very first issue of Playboy, solidifying Marilyn as the ultimate sex symbol. That same year, she met baseball legend Joe DiMaggio. Together, they were America's golden couple, the sports hero and the adored actress. They married in early 1954, but the union was stormy. Joe wanted a traditional wife at home. Marilyn was adored by millions of men worldwide. The breaking point came with the filming of The 7-Year Itch and the iconic skirt-blowing scene above the subway grate. The marriage lasted just 9 months. Joe divorced her, but as we will later see, he never stopped loving her. By the mid-1950s, Marilyn began her personal battle for respect. She was tired of playing the same roles, the dumb blonde stereotype, while Fox earned millions from her popularity yet paid her far less than she deserved. She craved recognition as a serious actress. In 1955, she moved to New York to study acting at the famous Lee Strasberg School. Imagine it, a national icon, sitting in class with unknown beginners, learning her craft. In New York, she also met playwright Arthur Miller, an intellectual and introvert 7 years older. They seemed like opposites, but Marilyn admired him deeply. In 1956, they married.
Thank you very, very much. Marilyn, this is your first appearance in television, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Jack.
Well, I'm quite flattered that you made your first appearance on my show. I really am. Just one.
Miller left his wife and 2 children to be with her. For Marilyn, now 30 years old, it was the promise of family life. Over the next years, she made only 2 films, but one of them, Bus Stop, finally earned her critical praise. Another, The Prince and the Showgirl, was produced in London by her own company, a groundbreaking move at the time. Yet happiness slipped away. Twice she became pregnant, but both ended in tragedy. Her mental health deteriorated. No longer just moody or sensitive, she now suffered from insomnia, dependency on pills, and increasing unreliability. On set, she was late, forgetful, a nightmare for directors and actors. Still, she managed to film her greatest success during this dark period. In 1959 came Some Like It Hot, the comedy that became a worldwide hit. Marilyn's role as Sugar won her a Golden Globe. Behind the glamorous smile, however, her marriage was collapsing. She stood by Miller when he was accused of communist sympathies, but now she resented his lack of public support for her. The film The Misfits, written by Miller, was supposed to be for her, but she hated the role. Meanwhile, her affair with French actor Yves Montand deepened the rift. By 1961, they divorced. The Misfits was the last film she completed. The production was plagued by her lateness and emotional breakdowns. Clark Gable, her co-star, suffered a heart attack shortly after filming and died, leaving Marilyn devastated. Her mental health spiraled further. She was even placed in a psychiatric clinic, released only after Joe DiMaggio intervened. Her final attempt at a comeback, the film Something's Got to Give, ended in disaster. Fired by Fox, Marilyn's career seemed over. Yet the public still adored her. Her nude photo shoots once again made headlines, and whispers grew louder. Whispers of her connection to the most powerful men in America. In May 1962, a photograph was taken. The only known image of Marilyn Monroe with both John and Robert Kennedy. It was at a party following President John F. Kennedy's 45th birthday, where Marilyn sang her infamous "Happy Birthday, Mr. President." Her dress, her sultry performance, sparked endless rumors. Rumors of an affair with the president. Rumors of a relationship with Robert Kennedy. Rumors that Marilyn kept a secret diary filled with explosive details. Some say she believed one of the brothers might even leave their families for her. Others think she simply longed for respect, for dignity, something she rarely received. But from the moment that photo was taken, Marilyn had less than 3 months to live. On the night of August 4, 1962, she stayed at home. After 8 p.m., she went to bed. Around 3:30 in the morning, her housekeeper Eunice Murray grew uneasy. Light shone under Marilyn's door, but there was no answer. Looking through the window, she saw Marilyn lying motionless on her bed. Doctors were called. At 3:50 a.m., Marilyn Monroe was pronounced dead. The coroner's report found a massive overdose of barbiturates. Too much for an accident. Too much for doubt. The case was closed as suicide, citing her history of depression and instability. Yet suspicion never died. Did the Kennedys order her silence? Did intelligence agencies see her as a threat? Or was it simply a tragic end to a fragile soul? For newspapers across America, her death was front-page news. On August 8th, her funeral was arranged by Joe DiMaggio, who wept all night by her coffin. He sent roses to her grave 3 times a week for 20 years. 11 years later, Elton John and Bernie Taupin would write "Candle in the Wind," immortalizing Norma Jean. Marilyn Monroe died at just 36 years old. More than 60 years later, the world still asks the same question. Who killed Marilyn Monroe? If you found this story compelling, give this video a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more untold stories of history's most fascinating lives.